I'm at the admitting office where I'll sign papers and then I'll go up to the floor.
Don't you think we're better together? Oh, I think we are.
Good morning and hi guys and welcome to Monday and hospital admission day. So
your face looks creepy with the rain in the windshield.
We're gonna do this vlog a little bit different. We're gonna try to walk you guys through I was thinking back to a few years ago before we were vlogging. I remember sitting in the hospital and making a video for a little friend of mine who was like 4 at the time. And I was explaining the buttons on my IV pump and explaining how the IV pump works and then it goes into my port. And I thought, you know what? We've never really explained too much about the hospital. We've done a hospital room tour and you guys enjoyed that. So we thought we'd do this vlog just a little bit different and try to do more of like a explaining type of thing. So if you are in for that little adventure with us, here we go. And of course, as we always say, every hospital is different, every cystic fibrosis patient is different, and the plan for admission is different for everybody. So we are simply telling our story, and this is what it looks like when I go in the hospital. It wouldn't be an arriving to the hospital vlog without nervous belly, pre-hospital jitters. It's real. We're sitting in traffic. Peter is parking the car and getting the bags, and I'm at the admitting office where I'll sign papers and then I'll go up to the floor. I finished at admitting and it's time to go up to the floor. Peter is in the elevator. He got all the stuff and parked the car. Gotta find the right elevator. I don't know. Going up. Alright, time to go up to the floor.
Awesome. Okay, we are here and getting settled in.
Alright, so I am here, I'm in my room, and I've talked with the intake nurse, admitting nurse, and she goes through a bunch of questions. It's just policy, and they have to go through all these questions, but when you're like, not feeling great, that's like the last thing you want to do. But you get through it, you answer all the questions, and the nurse practitioner came in, went through the plan, and my day nurse left, my night nurse is here, and things are just going, you know? The plan is to pre-dose me with Benadryl tonight for my IV medication that I tend to have a reaction to. So that's the plan for tonight. And they brought in IV pump, feeding tube pump, even though I'm still hooked up to mine for right now. I'm feeling a little bit feverish, which you might be able to tell from my pink cheeks. But that's why I'm here, because my body needs some more help. And if you're new around here, here's a little background for you. I was born with a genetic disease called cystic fibrosis. It affects many parts of the body, mainly the lungs and the pancreas, the liver, but a lot of different things. I've just finished 3 weeks of IV antibiotics to try to treat the chronic bacteria which is in my lungs, and we've also just discovered that I'm growing another bacteria as well. So I'm in the hospital now to start treatment for that other bacteria. I will continue all of my normal medications that I'm on for my liver and my vitamins and my nebulizers and all of that sort of thing, and then we'll add on some extra powerful antibiotics. While I'm in the hospital, we also do more aggressive airway clearance, which means the way that we clear my airways of all of that sticky mucus, which is where the bacteria hide. It's the perfect storm for a not great situation. So tomorrow, when the chest PT therapists are in, it's after hours right now, but we will do chest PT, chest physical therapy, which is where I'm laying on my hospital bed and they do manual percussion. So basically like this to shake the lungs up basically and loosen the mucus. And something about cystic fibrosis is it's a lot of my life revolves around mucus. We gotta get the mucus out of my lungs, and it's ever so glamorous, but this is my life. And it's not everything about my life, but it is a big part. And so Peter and I have decided, since we can't ignore the issue, we just try to embrace our reality and make the most of our time wherever we are located. And right now we are located in the hospital. And so we aren't gonna view this as a pause in our life. We're just gonna view it as a new location. So that's one of the ways we cope with hospital stays.
Hey guys, we are pretty much settled in. Mary told you about the question and answer time. Yeah, about that. Is that like the most dreaded part about coming into the hospital?
About that first day.
About the first day?
Probably.
Yeah.
And like I said before, when they're asking all of those questions, it's their job and it's the system, and that's something they have to do, and I respect them for their job they have to do. But from our perspective, this is kind of what it feels like.
How are you feeling? How's your cystic fibrosis doing? How long have you had cystic fibrosis? Tell me your history in the last several months, day by day, hour by hour. How many times have you coughed in the last 36 hours? How many times have you peed? How are you feeling? How many bowel movements have you had? What's your favorite color? How many fingers am I holding up?
Oh, there was one test they did when I was in Chicago where they'd ask, what's the date, who's the president? And I was really nervous I was gonna get one of those wrong.
When did you last clip your toenails? When you brush your teeth, which side do you start on? What side of the bed do you sleep on? Now let's go through your medication list. Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C. And when did you take those last? So I see here you take vitamin D at 10 o'clock a.m. What time would you like to take that? And when did you take those last?
But for real, guys, you have to laugh because these sweet people, they're doing their job, and so they might have come in and asked those questions, and the next person might come in and ask the exact same questions, but that's part of hospital life, and we choose to just laugh about it because what else are you gonna do?
I guess you could cry.
You could cry.
I was gonna show them these cool new gowns.
And one last thing, if you are a nurse or an admitting nurse, I am gonna give you one big high five because you have to ask a lot of questions. And the admitting nurse and I were laughing together because my hospital redid their intake questions and they're like really detailed now, like really kind of awkward actually. And she was like, yeah, I have to ask everybody this. And I was like, you're doing a good job. Okay, so show us the new gowns.
Yeah, so because Mary's on contact precautions, and that's because she has bacteria that we don't want to spread to anybody else, and also so that they don't bring in anything that Mary could catch. So they
And spreading it to any other cystic fibrosis patients. It
Yes.
can't be spread to normal people.
Correct. So they have these new gowns. They also wear gloves, but they are 3-armed. Wow, check this out. It's like super thorough.
The old ones, you'd kind of put them on
Put it on like that.
the other way. Look at that.
Coverage.
Full coverage. So, those are nice and thorough. Good job.
Remember our song? Thoroughness is what makes the system work.
I did forget about that. There was one time I was in the hospital and I felt like I was just feeling frustrated with the number of times that they had to do my blood pressure at times when I'm trying to take a nap or whatever. And to remind myself that they're doing this for my good, we came up with a song that the thoroughness is what makes the system work. And so whenever I feel like, they're asking me how many milliliters of water I drank again. I'd be like, the thoroughness is what makes the system work. And that just helped me like breathe and tell them how many milliliters of water I drank.
Did you tell them what the plan is? Here in about an hour, we're gonna start Mary's first dose of vancomycin. We're gonna stretch it out over 2 hours. Mary's gotten the red man syndrome side effect before, where she gets red and itchy, and it's a known reaction to this medication. So she's gonna pre-dose with IV Benadryl and stretch it out over 2 hours, and that's the start of the plan.
If I do get red man syndrome, we'll show you what it looks like, but hopefully we won't have anything to show you.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Well, let me give you a little tour of the room. It's pretty basic. It's a hospital room. So the nurses have a little computer station where they check in meds and Mary's chart and everything. IV pump. Mary keeps her feeding tube pump with her on the bed. That way she's more mobile rather than having to cart the pole around.
Yeah.
This is actually a tuberculosis lock room, so it actually has like a separate entrance that they don't use because she's not on airlock precautions, but
There might be other reasons besides tuberculosis, but that's the only one we know of.
yeah. So basically airborne precautions where basically it's like a air sealed room that they can enter into and then come into here rather than coming in out of the hall. Anyways, hand washing station, refrigerator, TV, cuteness, and I've got a little bed in the window, and then the bathroom. All the rooms around here are pretty much the same, just different configurations and sizes. Mary goes to a children's hospital because both pediatric and young adults meet at this hospital, and so she's treated by adult physicians just in this facility. And so they have a whole like young adult program that for cystic fibrosis that is, yeah, that's why we're in a children's hospital. But there are some benefits to that, such as the bed in the window for me, and it's kind of bright and cheerful around here. And that noise, you'll probably hear 2 noises this week while we're here. The one is because it's the airlock room, there's a fan up here that is always running. It's like a filter, I think, in the room. And then we also, it's kind of dry in here, so Mary had the idea of them hooking up the humidifier.
They've done that before when I'm like having bloody noses and stuff to try to cut down on the dryness in the air.
Yep. So Mary's vancomycin is hooked up, so the bag's right here, and it runs down into this pump. And the way they describe it is that this is the brains and this is the pump. And so it's got a programming how fast it goes. It goes through this line, and we're running it over 2 hours, and goes into Mary's port that we already had accessed. And then it fights that bacteria, hopefully. And Mary's drugged with IV Benadryl, so she's feeling pretty out of it, and hopefully she doesn't feel any itching.
So far, so good.
So we're gonna call it a first day in the hospital.
And
As always, we will see you tomorrow. Good night. And the after party is with the Ollie boy. You wanna say good night, guys? Good night, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.